We're out here today pruning apples and pears, and of course, first things first, you got to start with good tools, right? So this is an extension pruner, and most of my trees are semi-dwarf or standard trees, so you need something like this that can get you up to that height, right? You can really get up there. And anyway, I love this tool. It'll keep you from getting up on these ladders, but since I mentioned ladders, let's go ahead and talk about them. These are orchard ladders specifically for pruning and picking in the orchard. And you can see they have 3 legs, so you can stick that leg, the middle one, into the tree somewhat, you know. And it's very well balanced. I caution against you using ladders leaned up against a tree. It's just an accident waiting to happen, and if nothing else, you're probably going to break some limbs. Anything else, the main thing is keeping them sharp. And so, hand pruners, I'm not going to mention brand name because it didn't seem appropriate, but there's definitely some brands that are better than others. What you want is high quality steel that will hold an edge. Same thing with pruning saws when you're up close. And loppers. Now this is pretty much all I use, these 3 different things, these here. If you're a big, large-scale commercial grower, you'll probably want to get a pneumatic pruner. Then you have to haul an air compressor into the orchard, but if you're doing a lot of trees, is what you have to do. And if you just have a few, I'd still say you probably need this many. Maybe not this many ladders, but you probably should consider getting a nice orchard ladder. It'll just make things a lot easier. Try to do things from the ground when you can, just keep down the possibility of accidents. Loppers, the same thing. You can reach pretty high with these loppers, but again, you got to keep them sharp to minimize the effort that you have to make, and also a nice clean cut heals over better. It becomes less of a potential site to harbor pathogens. So keep those tools sharp. As an organic grower, pruning is actually one of the things I think, have to do, especially in the eastern half of the United States, in order to manage our diseases. So when we start, one of the first things we'll look for in an apple or pear tree are diseased or damaged limbs. This one is a fire blight canker, and I can even tell you where it started, right there. But the point is that this canker becomes a source of more disease. Not just fire blight, which is quite possible, but also black rot. You can't see it without a scope, but there's little pycnidia, little spores around here that when conditions are right will spread to the fruit and rot the fruit. So that's one of the first things we're going to do when we get into the orchard, is to take out these cankers, diseased or damaged wood. And sometimes you're taking out a rather large piece, and that means you're going to have to adjust your pruning. You know, if this would represented a sizable portion of the tree, then we're going to have to think about how to keep the tree well balanced and make the right cuts in order to do that. And one of the important principles you have to remember with pears and apples is apical dominance, or the need for a central leader. Pears and apples want, quote unquote, a central leader. And if you don't remember that, if you don't respect that need for central leader, what you get is a profusion of upright growth that we call water sprouts. Let me explain just a little bit more. So usually you'll see an apple tree or pear tree pruned roughly to a Christmas tree shape. So that maintains that one central leader at the peak. But if you want to just cut it out because it's getting too tall or something, you have to remember that the tree's response then will be to try to replace that central leader, and it's not that well organized. So what it's going to do is send up a whole bunch of would-be central leaders, and that's a mess. And we'll have to cut every one of these out. So that's a good principle to remember, this principle of apical dominance, or the need for a central leader. If you don't respect that in apples and pears, this will be the response.